All right, it's 4:01 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting of the Economic Development Corporation to order. Blanca, if you can establish quorum, please.
Hiren Govin, President.
Present.
Roland Gomez, Vice President.
Present.
Daniel Dan Diaz, Secretary.
Present.
Aaron Ronnie Rivera, Treasurer.
Present.
Veronica Gonzalez, Director. Sabrina Walker Hernandez, Director.
Present.
Raul Resendez, Director.
Present.
And we have quorum.
Excellent. And if you can certify public notice for me, please.
Yes, the notice was posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act on July 23rd at 12:10 p.m.
Thank you. Moving on to public comments, I'd like to open up the floor for public comments. Do we have anybody on Zoom or anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Do we have anybody who registered? No?
No.
All right. Closing public comments. Moving on to agenda item 4, Director's Report.
Yes, we have a couple of updates for the board, starting with Spark 3.0. We launched the program Wednesday, July 21st at 8 a.m., and it will close Friday, August 6th at 5 p.m. So it'll go for about 2 more weeks. And so far, we have about 300 applicants, and we're currently reviewing them right now. And we have staff reviewing that. We have a couple of projects that we're still working with, First Valley Produce, Cold Storage, and Siddons Martin Emergency Group. Those are ongoing. We continue to meet with prospects. We have about 14 prospects that we're speaking to and meeting with and touching base with, either to expand into Edinburg, relocate, or create new businesses here. The retail development, we're also touching base with them. I know that Coldwell Banker also is helping us with that, so we can develop more retail here in the city. The marketing services, DCI is on the line and will be providing an update on the website, so that's further down the agenda. And a quick update on the food truck park. We did add one more food truck, Izzy's Barbecue, and we have estimated about 500 attendees now, so we continue to grow every other Friday that we host the event, so that's great. And we did submit 3 requests for information to the state of Texas, and that requires information on our North Industrial Park and on utilities and other requirements on office space, and Coldwell Banker is also assisting us with that as well. That completes my update. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Blanca?
Hi, Blanca. First question, Spark 3.0, what are the requirements for a business to qualify?
Yes, there are several requirements. The first one is they have to be inside the city limits. They have to have about 50 employees or less, and they either have to pay sales tax to the state or property taxes on their commercial property or on their business personal property to the Hidalgo County tax assessor.
I had a few people call me about that, ask me about the Spark 3.0. They said that they didn't qualify the first time around, but they were paying sales tax, that they were told if they didn't have a storefront, they did not qualify.
This time around?
This time around.
No, yeah, the home-based businesses do qualify if they pay sales tax or business personal property on their equipment, furniture to the Hidalgo tax assessor. Yeah.
And they just have to provide proof of sales tax?
Yes.
Do they have to be current with the Secretary of State, or just as long as, because I know with COVID, some people have chosen to pay at the end of the year versus quarterly. So as long as they show activity, is that?
Yes, we're accepting either 2020 or 2021, because some of them have paid their quarter in June or the first week or so of July, but others do it on an annual basis, so we accept that one too, and that would have been last year, 2020.
Okay, awesome. My other question was on the Buxton projects. We were going after any developments or anything that we could report on?
Yeah, that's going to be on executive.
Executive,
Yeah.
okay.
Anybody else have any more
I
questions?
think, yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Blanca. I appreciate it. All right. Moving on to regular agenda items. Agenda item A, consider the approval of minutes for the June 29th, 2021 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review them?
I did, and I make a motion to accept as printed.
Second that motion.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. And Roland on the phone, do you?
I approve.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to the financial report. Christian, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Good evening. Okay. Management report. Echo? Or is it just me? Okay. Management report for the period ending June 30, 2021. June 30, 2021 represents that we are in the ninth month, the conclusion of the ninth month of the fiscal year ending September 30, 2021. So we are 75% complete with the year. And that 75%, it's a pretty good benchmark as we kind of look at the percentage today column on the very far right. But for the month of June, we collected $641,000 in sales tax, which was earned in April. We collected $7,500 in rents. We collected $10,000 from the sale of property. Even though we didn't sell it, there was an auction period that concluded, and then we were able to collect $10,000. And we have about $357 in interest income. So overall, for the month of June, we collected $659,000. If you kind of look to the very right, year to date, you'll see that we collected overall for the year $5.4 million in sales tax. We have a budget of $6.5 million. So we've already collected 84% of our budget, and we are at 75% completed the year. Just wanted to highlight that there. So June, as far as expenditures, was a very light month. Our major expense for the year was $25,000 in GRH investments. That was a project incentive plan. So we have an increase in cash of $631,000. We started out with $7.81 million, and we have almost $8.5 million in the bank. You go to the very far right on the year to date, you'll see for the year so far, we have an increase of cash of $3 million. I don't know if you can see that, but $3,012,379. I do want to emphasize, of that $3 million, $1.4 million is that transfer from the Greater State Bank. Okay? All right, so right now in our unrestricted cash accounts, we have almost $8.5 million. On the section below, you'll see the breakdown of cash, of how it's broken down. We have our unrestricted cash. We have $1 million in our unrestricted account, our operating account, and we have almost $7.5 million in the sweep account, which is an interest-bearing account too. And the rest is our restricted cash. The only accounts earning interest are the Techstar accounts. They're earning about 0.12%. But overall, in both unrestricted and restricted, we have $20.38 million worth of cash. Any questions about the statement of cash receipts and disbursements? This particular report? Okay. On the next page is just a comparison of fiscal year 21 versus 20 and 2019 with regards to the sales tax. For the month of May, you'll see that we earned $631,000. We're going to collect that next month, or in the report you'll see next month. When you compare that to 2020, in 2020 we earned $550,000 in the month of May, and in 2019 we collected $512,000. So we have pretty good steady growth for the month of May. In the chart below, you'll see that linear growth as well. Any questions about the sales tax comparisons? Okay. The next page is going to be our statement of assets and liabilities. We have almost $42 million in assets. $20.3 million is going to be cash. The $2.7 million in accounts receivable we'll talk about in a little bit, and the rest is going to be in fixed assets and also the Santana note receivable. Okay. The next page is going to be the liabilities. Overall, total liabilities, we have $26.8 million in obligations. Any questions about the statement of assets and liabilities? Okay. All right, the next page is going to be our accounts receivable breakdown. As we just mentioned, the $633,000 that was earned in May, we hope to collect next month. And then the rest is going to be the Santana Textiles, the $10 million note, the $5 million note, the interest accruals, and then the late fees as well. And this ties back to the balance sheet. Any questions about the financial report?
Anybody?
Blanca, I do have a question for you. On the workforce training, are there any projects that's coming up? I see it's only like at 2% out of 189. Just kind of curious about that.
Yes, we currently have an agreement with HSIR. It's the educational arm for DHR Health. And we're actually training medical assistants right now. The program will end in December 31st of this year. And I think we're due a conversation if we want to expand that or not, or to bring to the board for your consideration and approval.
Were they still at 22 applicants, I believe? What, do you remember?
They had 11, and we had about 6 applicants that we funded, and we're down to 5 because one dropped the class.
So we won't spend that 189.
I'm sorry?
So that 189, 484 will not be expended.
Probably not, no. And you will see that in once we do the budget amendment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve the financial management statement as presented.
I second that motion.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Same sign. Roland?
I approve.
Excellent. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Christian, for your time.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. All right. Moving on to the next agenda item C, presentation by DCI for our website.
Yes, as per the request of the board, DCI will do a presentation on the EDC website. Ms. Kelsey Guns from DCI is on the line. Kelsey, feel free to share your screen.
Yes, thanks, Blanca. I'm happy to be here today. Hi, my name is Kelsey Guns. I'm a digital marketing associate here at DCI. I'm short for Development Counselors International. We are a PR and marketing firm with a focus on place marketing. We partnered with Edinburg EDC to create a brand new website, which I will be presenting today. So first I'll talk a little bit about the background and strategy for the site, and then I'll be walking you through some of the new features and functionalities of the website as well. Please let me know if you have any questions as I'm walking through these slides. Am I able to share my screen? Sorry, Blanca, having some...
You should be able to. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. One moment. Is that working? I'm sorry. It doesn't appear to be sharing.
Kelsey, I can share my screen.
Sure. 1 second. My screen is frozen. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, There it is.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Is everyone able to see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to start off with a little bit of background about DCI. We do have 60 years of specialization in economic development and tourism marketing, which really gives us a big picture view of the economic development and place marketing space, which helps inform our strategy and research. We've worked with over 500 cities, states, countries, and regions to help them with website work, marketing work, and PR, all things related to that. We have over 60 dedicated place marketers with deep industry knowledge working here at DCI. We have 4 offices, the New York office, which is where I'm based, Denver office, Los Angeles, as well as Toronto. So our strategy is really rooted in research here. As I mentioned, our strategy is really threefold. First up, we have our deep industry knowledge. As I mentioned, we have over 60 years in the place marketing industry. We really know the ins and outs of place marketing. We also use your network to inform our strategy. We really explore all there is to know about you, your target market. We take insights from local stakeholders to really make sure your site exceeds all expectations, making sure the website is as efficient as possible and serves all of your needs. In terms of research and data, we evaluate the metrics and data of your website to inform our decisions in the website process as we're developing the site. We lean on our research team and other reputable data to deliver the most impactful results for your site. So here's what we found as we were diving into the discovery phase of the website. Our research and data revealed the following items. Users were interacting with and engaged with EDC info. However, because it was housed on the City of Edinburgh site, it was not as easily accessible as we would have liked, and users weren't able to find content as easily as we would like them to. The content needed to be bolstered and organized to bring down the bounce rate. The bounce rate here is just anyone who navigates to a site and then leaves the site without navigating to other pages or interacting with the content. We also wanted to create a visual sense of place to highlight Edinburgh through photos and video to really portray what life is like, what working and living in Edinburgh is like. We also wanted to prioritize SEO for the site to make sure that Google indexes your site properly and drives more traffic to the site as well. So here's what we proposed in our initial phases of design for the site. We really wanted to focus on clear navigation for users seeking Edinburgh EDC content. As I mentioned, we had a bit of a higher bounce rate before because users weren't able to find what they needed on the city site. We also wanted to bolster content, include additional statistics and research to back up all of the great things about Edinburgh. We wanted to produce videos showing life in Edinburgh, which we'll see on the site. We created a great marquee video, which really highlights Edinburgh. And that shows up right on the homepage as you click on the site. We also wanted to create content with SEO in mind. So as we were writing that content, we used SEO tactics to inform our strategy. So here are the results. This is a screenshot of what the site currently looks like. We created a landing page first within about the first month of the project. So this landing page launched back in May. Which is kind of a preview of what the full site will look like. You can see there's a capability for Spanish translation. There's an embedded Google map, all things that I'm sure you've seen on the current landing page, which will be expanded more on the full site. As I mentioned, we really wanted to focus on creating a new sitemap with templated page types to make sure that the navigation for the site was as streamlined as possible. This ensures that any user coming to the site knows exactly where to find the information that they're looking for. And the templated page types just really make sure that the site is as concise and consistent as possible when users are navigating between pages. We also bolstered content with additional details. In many of the pages, we used what's called tabbed content to include more information about local businesses. We included more statistics and data for many of the industry pages specifically. This really just bolstered the content and that'll help decrease any bounce rates because users will be more engaged with the content and it'll be more easy for them to navigate through as well. As I mentioned, we also produced 2 videos highlighting Edinburg. The first is a looping marquee video that auto-plays on the new site's homepage depicting life in Edinburg. The bottom one here you can see is a business feature on a regional major employer, Little Bear Produce, and that's really kind of an industry spotlight on Little Bear. As I mentioned, we also created content with SEO in mind, so this is kind of just a snippet from the back end of the site where we include all of the SEO titles, meta descriptions, and title tags. All of that just means that we're keeping this in mind so that Google is indexing your site properly. This is giving your website more domain authority and directing the correct users to the site as they're searching keywords in Google. Some additional features that we also included on the site here, we really wanted to show off your sites and properties for any site selectors who might be accessing the site and needing functionality. We also included a full Spanish translation, as I mentioned, across all of the pages on the site. We organized your news and your resources to really make sure that those have a place to live on the site and they're much more organized. We also included featured videos throughout to make the content more engaging and interactive. Here's a screenshot first of the featured properties tool. As I mentioned, this will be really useful for site selectors or business prospects. You can see here on the left-hand side there's the functionality for a search option. Depending on what property type, zone type, or purpose you're looking for, you can search through the properties here, and it's a really interactive way to visualize those sites and properties. As I mentioned, we also included a full Spanish translation on all pages. There'll be a small toggle button in the top right corner of all pages, which directs the user to translate to Spanish if needed. We know that this was a really important functionality for any bilingual stakeholders, residents, business prospects, etc. We also organized the news and resources for internal and external use. You can see in the top left-hand corner here, we have the capability to filter for news and videos on the news site, and then from there users can click on each news item, which will populate in the new tab. You can see here at the bottom, we also have organized all of the resources into different categories here. We have annual reports, audits, meeting agendas, testimonials, and webinars. So those are all really neatly organized, and users can see exactly where they need to click to access the files that they need. We also included featured videos throughout the content. As I mentioned, this will engage users and really just make your site more interactive. We can embed videos on any of the pages as needed, whether those are created by Edinburg EDC, by the City of Edinburg, or whether they're local partners. We do have that functionality to incorporate videos. So next I'll just walk really quickly through a preview of the staging site. We are slated to launch the full site on Thursday, the 29th, but here's just an overview of what the site looks like now. The staging site is not public, so this is just for internal review right now. So as you can see here, as I mentioned previously, when you first navigate to the site, there is this homepage marquee video that really demonstrates life in Edinburg. As you scroll down here, you'll be directed to a Google map, really interactive. Users can zoom in and out. The functionality is great. You can get an overview of the region. You can see the outline here and many local businesses as you zoom in. You can see the key messaging here with a sliding feature, which really highlights top level things that we want to highlight about Edinburg. We also have these ranking and fast facts modules across all pages of the site, which really highlight the data and statistics that we wanted to pull out about Edinburg. We also have a news feature here, which pulls in some of the news items onto each page. Next, I'll navigate just really quickly to a level 2 page. This will be, different across each page, but we have why Edinburg, doing business, living here, about us, and newsroom. So this will kind of have some overview copy, and then you can go into each of these content pages from the level 2 page. And the content page will really be where most of the content on the site lives. So as you can see, we have many of the industry pages here. I'll click on one of them so you can see as an example. This is the healthcare page. Again, we have this overview text. We have functionality for the video embed. We have more rankings and fast facts. And then we have this tabbed content that really includes a lot of robust information about the healthcare industry in Edinburg. And we have news as well as an e-news sign up at the bottom of each page. We also, again, have this toggle button to translate any page to Spanish as needed. So that's just, the click of a button easily can translate any page from Spanish to English, or vice versa. Finally, I'll show you the newsroom. Again, we have the capability here to filter by news or videos. As you can see here, we can include different articles as needed on the site. And once you click on one of them, it can bring you into a news item page. Any questions as I'm navigating through the site here?
Could you show me more of why Edinburg?
Sure. Would you like to see one of the content pages or just this specific page?
Yeah, I want to see what the content is on those tabs. Because this is the actual page, right, to be launched on Thursday?
Yes.
So we can go down.
Has staff seen this already? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything, Ms. Guns, do you know
Yes.
do you know what the county seat means?
Sorry, where's that?
The term county seat,
Yes.
is that anywhere on this website?
Yes, I believe we do have that as rankings and fast facts on one of the other pages. We can add it to this page if that's something that you prefer. I can make a note of that for specifically the Why Edinburg page.
Well, of course, with staff's thinking on it, I don't see anything mentioned about we have the largest school district. I don't know what the exact number is, but I know it's south of San Antonio. Is that anywhere on there?
I believe so. Let me...
And I just wrote down some things. The largest school district, county seat, we have 18 miles of expressway, more than any city in the entire valley. We do have a industrial park. We have an airport ready to boom and do everything. Is that on there?
Yes, I believe that is region overview.
I think that should be
Sorry?
blasted to separate us from every other city in the valley. Right now, it just looks a little generic to me. There's a lot of things that makes Edinburg stand out.
Kelsey, something to tie into that, if you go back to the Google search, it seems like just a Google search and not necessarily to tie in what Dan was saying. How can that Google search truly embed all the city offices, the airport, and as you click on that search, it defines, the library, schools, or what have you. It seems like all we have on there is a Google search, which anybody can get off their phone.
Sorry, what Google... Oh, are you referring to the Google map here on the homepage?
Yeah, on the map.
Yes. And what was the comment there? You prefer this to be more
airports
defined?
and county seats and schools and different facilities that we have within the city that may merit someone who's looking at the city for expansion to look at. how do we go about creating this map to identify airports, schools, cities, facilities, structures, and what have you, and not just have a Google search that anybody can go on somewhere and get?
Right. Okay. So you'd prefer to have, major landmarks pinned, such as airports, schools, things like that?
Well, if someone's looking at Edinburgh, I would think that would be one of their asks of a website is well, in terms of, let's look at what's happening here in Edinburgh and how many schools, how many facilities, we have a lot of major landmarks, county seats, courthouses, airports, universities that other cities in the valley do not have.
DPS station, Border Patrol station.
And so, and not just have a Google search map.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a note of that and see if I can fix that with our developers.
Any opinions on?
This is, sorry, Dan. This is Roland Gomez. I guess going back to the map issue, maybe you can incorporate what the city currently has. They have their GIS map on their main webpage, where you can actually zoom in and it'll give you the zoning, different zonings and different properties like that. I want to say that if we can do that and incorporate what Raul and Dan were saying in regards to major businesses, the county, the school district, and have it labeled on that map, I think it will be a little more appealing to develop future developers in the city.
You had showed us another map where you could be able to do property searches and things like that. Is that only like available land for sale, or, because I think what everyone's getting at is on that one, on this one exactly, you'd be able to search kind of like the one we have currently.
Ron,
Yes.
I need to ask Ron, do you know, Ron, if the city's website offers these features with what we're talking about?
So we do, what Roland was referring to, and something that, with Brian and Blanca, we've been inputting more into, to where it's more of a dashboard. So it's a map. It's not very pretty, but it's very functional. So I got to be honest, in my mind, I have something that's functional and pretty, and we're quite not there. The Google Maps is a prettier map. The one we have on the GIS, you can do subdivisions, you can do rooftops, things like that. It's functional, but it just doesn't look very good. So that's something, we need to get this launched, but I think something we're going to have to keep tweaking on to make it, for lack of a better word, prettier.
Okay.
And to stand out, to separate us from everybody else.
Well, yeah, but when we do presentations, the same stats come out, what rooftops are coming, what subdivisions, what roads are going to be expanded, what developments have already been platted, and, so we use a lot of those dashboard components. So and where I would love to get to is that website is the same tool we use when we're actually giving presentations. So we're not producing something for it's there, and we're showing them, so once we're done, they can reference the same thing we just covered. So, we probably do need to explore the map function a bit more.
I think that it'd be nice to have the ability to kind of do a filter and say, well, restaurants. And then in the map, it shows all the restaurants. Somebody wants to come and put a restaurant in Edinburgh, say, well, we've got a restaurant in this area,
Yes.
and that area, you know what, we'd like this section.
That's essentially what that dashboard is. It's just it's in a massive amount of information. So our GIS team is the one kind of putting that in. And we're kind of refining that handoff between when they issue a building permit to kind of how it goes and we get that information in. But ultimately, yeah, that's exactly what we'd like, Mr. Rivera.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just think that, like the school district thing, that's huge for somebody that's not from the area, comes down and says, man, these guys have the largest school district. There's a lot of development going on.
Yeah.
A lot of growth. Some of those things I think are very important to be on there.
Kelsey, I have a question for you. Will we be able to add these things as we go along? I know that we've got a launch date scheduled for Thursday, but these changes, will they be able to take place as we give you the information as to what we'd like in it?
Yes, so that really depends on how extensive each of those changes is going to be. So for example, any small text change or any image change would be really simple to swap out. For this map conversation, that would be a little bit more complicated for the developers to kind of dig their hands into, so that would require more hours on their end. So that might be something that would delay launch or would have to wait until after launch, depending on what functionalities we decide on for that map.
Have we already approved this website as it's going to be launched on Thursday?
This is it.
This is it?
So for content updates, this is running on WordPress, and staff here will be able to do content updates for new statistics, posting research reports, all those kinds of updates. And so, yeah, we'll be able to handle that on an ongoing basis. We won't need the firm to do that for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that more robust, that dashboard, that interactive map, that's going to have to come in a second phase. That's a pretty robust tool. So we just want to, obviously get something up and running with the stats and the videos, just for the marketing purposes. And again, we will present, do tailored presentations, but we eventually want to get to that dashboard. But that's definitely going to have to be a second phase, both on the city and EDC side.
I have, this is Roland again. I have a question for Ms. Guns. Under the, I guess it was Edinburg tab, I saw a little box in there for incentives. Will the business owners have a way to apply for any city incentives, something like, such as a Spark card that's currently going on, to where they can fill out the information, hit enter, and one of the staff members receives, that application?
So we have a quick link here for that application download, but it won't be logged in the back end of the site, but we do have that located here on the incentives page. You can see that here. Is that kind of what you were
Okay. Yeah, just something like that. I thought, maybe just to make it a little easier where, the application, can pop up depending on what incentives the city's currently offering or the agency is currently offering, to where they can have a form and, just fill in the required information, attach any documents that they need to attach, and then, log in and click enter to where, one of the staff members can receive that and start processing that application a little quicker.
So we could make that a little bit more clear on this page. We could, make these applications more readily available, maybe by creating a button here or creating a larger module that would encourage the user to access that application upon clicking this page.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other thoughts on this as we're wrapping up the website conversation?
Anything else you want to see or ask? No, I believe that's it. And actually, the one other thing on the search properties, what I was trying to get at, would we be able to amend that to be more, to where we could search for, the restaurants and things like that as well, from the featured properties tool, or would that have to be a separate ad?
That would be something separate, since that would be added to the homepage map. We wouldn't want to add functionality for, restaurants or anything like that on this map just because it is specific to site selectors. So that would be kind of separate for the homepage map if that's something that we decided to create a filtering capability for.
Fair enough. Anybody else have anything else?
Right.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So on this one, there's no action needed to be taken, correct? All right, moving on to agenda item D, consider the request from Shea Nate LLC for not to exceed the amount of $150,000.
Yes, this is our first incentive agreement that we're going to present to our board. We have Mr. Hector Casas here from Shea Nate LLC. He is requesting an amount not to exceed of $150,000 in incentives for his property at 205 Conquest Boulevard in Edinburg, Texas. He is going to construct 44 retail incubator spaces at the St. Michael Event Gallery. And the incentives to be proposed for consideration are $100,000 for improvements, $30,000 for full-time jobs, for 50 full-time jobs, and an incentive for operating the project at 50% calculation based on property tax paid to the city of Edinburg. It'll be about $150,000 in incentives depending on the property valuation every year. And I'll open the floor to Mr. Casas if you have any comments.
Good afternoon. I'm Hector Casas for Shea Nate. Most of you have known the place known as the Social Club. Now, prior to COVID, we had leased it, didn't come through and then pen out on the lease. We changed it to protect the innocent to the St. Michael Event Gallery. The innocent was me. Anyway, with COVID coming across, we saw a download. We started doing the outdoor markets. Fluke, my son, came out there, and people started requesting out there and inside. So we started researching that. And on the gallery side, I don't know, most of you have been in the gallery there at the Social in the St. Michael. We are putting in like 30 incubators, 10 by 10, 12 by 12s. And I don't know if she's got a picture of it, but it's all going to look like if you've been in there, it will be totally different than out there. You're going to be looking like walking through the streets of San Miguel de Allende. That's the concept we're going to do inside. Slowly, we're going to create the outside. Next month, or this coming August, my son and his partners are opening Casa Azul, which, that is going to be a boutique and flowers, basically, with a wine and beer location. We're working with the ABC. Hopefully this week out there they get it. So they're looking at opening next month on that. So that's basically what we're looking. We're trying to get in, like we said, about 30-some shops, creating at least 50 employees that we're going to put on our contract that need to be at least at $15 an hour. So that is going to be a little push. We'll probably end up with more than 50, but with calculations we're doing, that's what would like to commit to at this point, and go from there. We're looking at. You're probably looking this year being a slow year, $250,000 going to about $750,000 to $1 million in revenue the following year just on sales for the stores that are going to be under. Any questions you might have for me?
I I do have a question, Mr. Casas. The stores that you're planning on inviting to lease there, are they stores that are already in existence, or I mean new businesses, or?
This is really a fine thing. This is going to be people that probably are not paying sales tax right now. They're your homebounds. What we're making it very easy for them. We're going to cover all the cost of the insurances. We show them on there, and they're just going to come in and pay $650 to $700. Fitness pays maybe up to $900 a month, and that's it. So it's going to be an easy item for them. They can actually have their store, lock up their door, move on, come in the next day. It's something new in the incubator space. I think it's going to work wonderfully there. There's one already in McAllen del Mercadito that's doing something similar to this.
Right.
I think they've got like 20-some stores. We're going to come up with a little bit more than that. I feel we should be able to be in full capacity rented within 6 months. There's a lot of interest in that.
Mr. Casas, how are you defining incubator?
Incubator is a space that you use in the whole, basically you get this room and you put in 10 stores. They're not closed up to the ceiling, so they're using the same air condition. It's just a better way for people to shop, and you'll have your hallways going through it, but it'll be like a 10 by 10, 12 by 12 space. That's why it's called an incubator.
But from an incubator, a true incubator is giving resources, networking, capital funding. That's a true incubator in terms of somebody who has an idea and they don't have a place to go to and need funding, need resources, need networking opportunities, it seems like $900 for a 10 by 10 is a lot of rent.
It's going to be, you're looking at all the stuff that they're providing. We're calculating, just on a per space basis. You're looking at, by the time they use their internet, their power, their water, all those resources per unit, I'm calculating in the area of $250 per unit.
Above the $900?
No. That's within that area. So you're looking at, if you're getting $650, you're only getting $350 net to the end on there. You're going to be, that's what we've been running through with power, and all the other incentives that they'll be getting.
Are you a member of the MBIA?
No.
Okay.
So then each business would file for their own sales tax certificate.
That is correct. And then, you'll end up having, like I said, 39 new businesses or 40 new businesses to the city of Edinburg.
I have another question. I'm trying to picture the incubators as they're stated. No ceiling, but they will have doors for people to go in?
Yes, it'll be an enclosed air incubator.
Okay.
The ceilings will probably have like a wired ceiling just so that nobody can come through from your neighbor, but it'll be open. In this area, you'll have a 9-foot ceiling per se, and then it's open to 14. So the same sprinkler systems, everything will work throughout.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen those concepts up like in Houston and things, and they look nice. I mean, I'm trying to see the difference between. You remember the Bargain Bazaar in McAllen?
Yes.
23rd. But that didn't have any doors going in, and it was all everything, kind of like a flea market type of deal. Indoor flea market was what it was.
And now they've added the south side, like 20 enclosed incubators.
Now I've seen what they've done, and now I'm seeing that picture.
See, that's basically what we're going to be looking at, how it's going to look indoors.
I like, pretty concept.
It's a little. We're spending a little more money on the construction to make it look pretty.
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad there's a picture because I was envisioning Bargain Bazaar. And
No, I didn't want to say that, but that's why we submitted it, but that is a picture of what you'll be looking
Okay,
at.
that looks nice. So that's wood, sheetrock. What are the materials?
Well, actually, it is wood and sheetrock, and we're considering block just because of today's market with,
Lumber.
with the lumber. I mean, we were really, lumber and block were about the same price. So I said, I'm going to block them up. And right now, they're coming down, so I'm still considering we might still put a bottom block, because if you notice, we'll have a lot of tile looking around the structure. And it will look like an exterior building, but since it's not out on the inclement weather, we can go with drywall and wood on it.
And hours of operation, it's going to be?
It's going to be, basically, we're looking at open 7 days a week, probably a 10 to 8 kind of situation. But we're not going to force the business to be open 10 to 8. There's some that say, we don't work Sundays.
Right.
That's
So
going to be their prerogative.
It's not just a weekend deal.
It's not just a weekend deal. It'd be a weekend. We will add it with what we're doing as the outdoor market. Probably once we're at full, we'll probably be doing an outdoor market every weekend so that we can promote a bigger flow.
Whatever, right.
We've had up to 1,000 people show up on a 4 or 5 hour period.
The number of 50 employees, are those going to be employees on your payroll, or are you
No, they're going to be...
You're counting the employees of each shop?
Of each shop.
Vendor.
Each vendor. And when we said 50, is that we're looking at committing at $15. There'll probably be more at less than the 15, but at least that will be in the $15 per hour. And that's something that we're putting into the contract. Each one that they'll have at least one employee at $15 an hour. It might be the owner, might be out there, but it'll be one employee at $15 an hour.
Are you going to be having food or restaurants or?
The Casa Azul is opening with a slide, what we call a sideboard, and they're opening. We're looking at having 3 different types of restaurants that'll be part of an incubator. They'll have a little bigger than a 10 by 10 because they're actually a cooking restaurant, and they'll have they'll have a little vending area where they actually are sales. We're looking at having 3 different types of hot food cooks, and then there'll be probably 5 other vendors, coffee, tea, baker type that are not going to be using the grills. So we'll probably end up with about 6 to 7 of those with a interior food court, which would be the restaurant area that we had before. That would be a little bigger than that, but that'll be the food court. And then we're going to have a little outside, maybe 20 by 20 area that'll be connected to that food court.
I like the concept. I think it'll be a good project, and hopefully it'll save me a trip to San Miguel de Allende. I don't have to buy the airline anymore.
Well, that's what we're hoping at. It'll be a lot of gifts, a lot of people, locals, that'll be selling their stuff and opening actually businesses and not working out of their homes.
Right. Mr. Casas, how long have you owned the property there?
Since probably 2002. 2002.
And it's been developed since then, right?
We've developed it. We've still got some acreage in front to put on your website. We're going to be selling the half acre. It's not for sale. It hadn't been for sale, but somebody requested, and I said, hey, everything's for sale. So we are going to put that 1 acre that is going to be on 281 on the market as a lease purchase, a lease built to suit or for sale area. We've got a fast-through type of a restaurant looking into it.
Yeah. So you've been paying taxes there over 2 decades?
Been paying a lot of taxes.
All right.
I mean, I've been paying a lot of taxes. I think just, for the city in the last 20 years, it's millions in taxes.
Thank you for your contribution.
And I don't have anybody in school.
How long will it take you to complete the project?
We're hoping that my son is the one that's really pushing me. I was thinking that I'll be opening in January, but he wants some of the stores and everything to open for Christmas shopping. So we're going to be looking at sometime, hopefully October, November. I had a November commitment, so that one was helping me with a wedding. I spoke to them, and I'm probably going to move their venue. My last event in those venues is probably going to be middle of next month, and that be quinceañera, and that be the last of the hurrah for events in the St. Michael.
Mr. Casas, how are you recruiting vendors to the space,
To the,
to the stores? How are you going to recruit the vendors?
with the markets and everything out there, I mean, I've been just talking to them personally, one-on-one, a lot of interest. What I'm working now is finalize the plans and finalizing contracts. I've got like 5, 6 restaurants interested. We're only going to put 3. And they're saying, well, I'm interested. I said, the first one that comes up and puts my money down, and I'm holding them back. I'll have contracts ready next week. So we'll probably have those 3 restaurants within a couple months already committed. We'll probably have the whole kitchen, that whole area, I would say within a couple months committed to the 6. And in the 39, we already have like 10 people, just pretty much word of mouth. One of the guys that's opening, one of the owners for Casa Azul was the regional director for Express. So he's bringing in a lot of that. And he says, and it's just friends that know me. We're interested. Second thing, third thing, something to do on the weekend. So they're
Thank you.
welcome.
How long are the lease terms going to be?
We're starting them. My deal was trying to help them out, and I say I go 5 years. They're probably going to be at a 3-year. We'll have very few that'll be available for a daily rate, but I don't think we'll have, within the 3-4 months, I don't think we'll have any available for daily rates, unless we purchase something else, or we grow to the north, to the west.
Yeah, I think it sounds like something that grew organically with your outdoor markets, and it sounds like the demand is there.
Okay.
But it's a good concept.
Yeah, and being that the events are been going out there, there's a lot more event places, and COVID really downed the amount of people. They're going down to 30 to 50. You'll be lucky to get an event more than 200 people right now. They're just afraid, even though there's a couple of the 300, but the majority are under 100.
Well, sounds great, Mr. Casas. Thank you for coming
You're
today.
welcome.
Thank you very much. Board, any comments, further discussion?
Can we discuss in closed session?
Yeah, we can. You want to make a motion to move it to executive? All right. So can I get a second?
I second that.
Second. All right. All those in favor of moving agenda item D into closed session, please raise your hand. Any
Approved.
opposed? Same sign. All right. We'll move agenda item D into executive session. Okay. Moving on to agenda item E. Consider the approval of the sale of property for 800 Constitution Drive, Lot 5.
Yes, this is for MVLE Enterprises, Inc. They are requesting to purchase Lot 5 at the North Industrial Park for the amount of $168,500. It's about 3.36 acres, and they want to move their operations from FAR to Edinburg, where they're going to be creating an office, a warehouse, and a parking space so they can have their bus fleet for RGV tours. Mr. Jose Vicente Solar, who's the owner, is on Zoom. Feel free to chime in, Mr. Solar.
Mr. Zalar, can you hear?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and I apologize. I'm not able to be there in person. My name is Vicente Solar, and I own MVLE Enterprises. We have 2 phases to our business. We established a business 14 years ago, starting in McAllen at my house. And then 7 years ago, we moved to FAR, Texas, where we've been, chartering buses for all the school districts, church groups. We have been blessed for the past 3 years to be the transportation company for UTRGV. They just extended our agreement for 3 more years. We also have another side of our business called RGV Tours, where we do tours to the Cowboy games, Disney World, San Antonio, Fredericksburg, different destinations. And I'm right now actually in Disney World with a group, and that's the reason I was not able to attend the meeting in person. We are, extending our operations, and our fleet is growing, so we need a place. Currently, we rent a place in Edinburg, where our offices are in FAR. So we are, hoping we can buy this land at this amazing location in your industrial park and move both the office and the space for the buses in the same location.
Great. I'm very familiar with your company. I've seen your buses.
Mr.
I've
Govan?
seen your buses all over the place.
We also have Coldwell Banker, who helped broker the sale.
Good afternoon. Happy to answer any questions about the offer. Do you guys have this short and sweet little PowerPoint about the organization?
Yes.
Okay, so pretty straightforward. This is an initial offer. There's been no real discussion or dialogue amongst us and the EDC about counter-offering, accepting, denying, anything like that. And so this is pretty fresh out of the gate.
This is more of a storage lot for your
It's
vans,
it's one of the smaller lots in the park for sure, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? And so it is one of the smaller lots, though.
So you'll be moving the entire operation over?
That's my understanding. He wants to consolidate. Mark, do you? So it would be a consolidation, office and storage.
Correct. Both office and bus parking and maintenance will be done there.
And so the purchaser does have a real estate agent who was unable to join us today, but that's who we've been communicating with.
What is there appraised value here in our packet, do we know?
Yeah, so we're a little ways apart. Our asking price is closer to $190,000, if I remember correctly, right around there. Actually, I'll tell you exactly what our asking price is. Our asking price is $185,350, which translates to $55,000 an acre.
So this is roughly what, 51,000 acres?
Around there.
Yep.
And so if the board or the EDC has questions about fair market and things like that, offline or whatever, I'm happy to answer as well.
Blanca, Brian, do y'all have any, comments or questions?
No, we don't. We're hoping that Mr. Solar returns with an inquiry for incentives. He is bringing 10 employees, and he will be creating 10 more in phase 2. So hopefully he can revisit soon once he starts his phase 2 for an incentives request.
Capital investments of about $500,000 is what they're projecting as well. And I would imagine that does not include the land.
Correct. That would be an additional investment, not including the land.
What's adjacent to that? Can you put that map back?
If you go back to...
It's got street front on two sides, and then it bumps up to lot 4 and lot 10 on the other two sides. So it's partial. It's kind of a cul-de-sac lot.
Yeah.
So it's directly the corner to
Yeah, it's a corner.
Santana.
I have a question. So what are the aesthetics of the storage lot? I'm trying to find pictures online. Like, is it like a bus barn? Is it?
That's a fair question, and I think that would probably be part of any transaction, approval of plans, design, et cetera, et cetera. I would imagine the park as a whole has some sort of requirements aesthetically, building size minimums, construction type, things like that, and so anything that they would do would be subject to that.
Because currently it's just an empty lot.
Right, but I'm saying, what are they going to bring over?
Right.
I'm trying to find pictures of the existing facility or what it looks like in
And
Florida.
we can certainly work to get our hands on maybe pictures of the existing facility the way it sits now. But for the new facility, again, I think it's just asking the buyer, whether it's this buyer or the next buyer, hey, can we see your plans? Can we see your design and reasonable review of that? And all subject to the board's approval.
Thank you.
So right now, we don't have any plans on, any schematics on building or anything?
That I'm aware of, no, sir. And so what we can do is request those from the buyer, who's probably hearing this, but we'll communicate the same to his broker, and that way nothing's lost in translation, and we'll work on getting you guys some sort of design specifications and things like that. I also think that would give us an opportunity to discuss the offer as a whole, right? Because typically there's more to an offer than price. There's timing and things like that, right? And so, again, we just have not discussed it yet in detail, and so I think that's probably a good next step as well.
Yeah, in my opinion, the offer is not bad at all. I don't have a problem with it. I'd just like to see what's going to go there.
Sure. Yeah.
So that we can.
I'm fine with the offer as well, just subject to the approval of the building plans. And
Sure, yeah. Which is, again, very reasonable and perfectly normal request, and so we can continue to work towards that.
Yes, I just want to note that the offer is in line with the appraised value of property at the North Industrial Park. So, yeah.
Great. So, Omar, if we were to make a motion, subject to,
They're at Disney.
Huh?
They're at Disney.
Oh,
Are they really?
They're at Disney. That's cool. Subject to RJV Tours taking us to Disney. I'm just kidding. To the aesthetics.
Anytime. And Cowboy season is about to start, and I know there's a couple Cowboy fans out there.
That's cool. I did not want to open that can of worms. I'm glad you did. Complete joke.
We do. I do want to mention that we do have a preliminary design of the two buildings that we're looking to build there. One would be a maintenance shop with 2 offices and a shower for the drivers, and the other building would have 6 offices, including a meeting room and a waiting area. The outside design of the building we have not worked on that, but we're willing to comply with any requirements the law requires.
Excellent. So then if we were to make a motion subject to design approval and et cetera, how exactly would that?
Just the best thing to do is to make it whatever requirements you want as clear as possible in your motion. And you essentially have 2 options to do that. One, you can state the requirement and leave it to city staff, to the economic development staff to determine if those are met, or you can require that to come back to the board for final approval.
Would that be, Omar, just approving the seller's offer but subject to the approval of the building concept?
That's correct, yes.
So it could be, if we did that, have to come back for a final approval, how would we word that?
You just make that in the motion authorizing the staff to, supervise that the requirements are met, but that the final approval come to the board before execution.
Yeah, I would like to see the schematics, and it's just Make a motion to approve upon approval of the building schematics.
Right. If you want to keep this really easy, you can just direct staff as terms of what requirements you want, and then table the item, and it can resurface when staff's ready to present it again.
That's probably the best way.
Right of first refusal or something like that. He's got first dibs based on what he presents.
So then we need to make the motion to table.
That would be the best thing, I think, to move to table.
So I'll make the motion to table and give staff guidance on, schematics, design, and pending final review. If I can get a second.
Second that motion.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Approve.
Motion carries.
So, sir, you understand what happened, right? We're all in agreement. It's not a no, it's just show us what we're going to build there, and we could proceed.
Correct.
Is he still on the line? Oh.
Mrs. Solar,
Yes, I understand.
Okay, it's perfect. Just so you know that. Right.
And we'll coordinate with him to make sure that they're clear on how we're going to proceed, and we'll coordinate with his broker as well.
That'll work.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Have a
Mr.
nice
Gilmore.
afternoon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Go Cowboys.
If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to enter executive session.
I make
So
a
moved.
motion to enter executive session.
And Dan
Second.
seconds. All those in favor, please raise your right hand or say aye.
Approve.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. It is 5:12 PM. We're entering executive session.
The cat. The cat?
Because I know he's going to want to talk, and I don't want to talk.
Huh? I heard cat. Oh, they're birds?
No, it's not.
Is it? Oh, that's what it sounds like. Oh, it's that thing? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Blanca, do you want me to go ahead and start or wait for Ron?
Yeah, that's,
You want to start? All right. It is 6:20 PM. I'll entertain a motion to re-enter open session.
I second that.
Second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Say aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. For the record, Roland Gomez did leave right before executive session and did not participate in executive session. All right. On agenda item D, I will entertain a motion. Dan, what do you make it?
On this item, just based off of the discussion, my recommendation would be to make a motion to table this item and directing staff to continue discussions.
I'll make a motion at table. Sorry.
I second the motion.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. In regards to agenda item D, same motion, table and have, not D, E. Table and have staff proceed as discussed.
I think that one, the tabling action was already taken.
Already taken, okay. Do we need to make any more motions? I don't believe so, no. All right. Is there any more we'd like to discuss? No? All right. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.